What's going on, guys? It's Cal here from Buffalo Sports Center. Today we're going to be making our Week 14 NFL picks. A pretty small slate of games this week, so if you're a NFL Red Zone enjoyer, there's a good amount of 1 o'clock games, but yeah, again, only 4 o'clock slate games and then the primetime games because I believe this is the last week you could have a bye, and a lot of teams played last week with the Thanksgiving week. So getting right into it, Thursday Night Football, we have the Green Bay Packers in Detroit to play the Lions. Man, this is a good game. I cannot pick against the Lions. I just think they're a three-headed beast on offense. That rush game, that throwing game, and then Jared Goff just being able to get them in field goal range. They don't miss field goals either. So I have to pick the Lions in this one to hang on against the Packers. This is a big one for seeding, though. If the Packers can knock off the Lions, they'd only be, I believe, 1 game back in that conference. So we'll see what happens there. I got the Lions close, though. Moving on to our Sunday 1 o'clock slate, we have the Cleveland Browns going into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Man, Jameis Winston with 2 pick sixes last week. That is a killer. They had the Broncos where they wanted them. We're driving down. Could have had a game-winning field goal. Did not happen. The Steelers, on the other hand, just continue to be a wagon. So I'll pick the Steelers here, but tentatively, I think the Browns are going to hang in this one till the fourth quarter, but I think the Steelers ultimately get the win at home. Next game, we have the New Orleans Saints going into New York to play the Giants. I should say New Jersey, but yeah, this one is an absolute stinker. I don't think anyone's really going to be watching this game. I'll pick the Saints on the road. The Giants have just looked miserable, so give me the Saints. Next game, we have the Jets going into Miami to take on the Dolphins. This game could get interesting, right? There's rumors that the Dolphins locker room is falling apart. There's rumors that the Jets locker room is falling apart. So 2 teams that were expected to do much better this year. The Dolphins still have a chance at the playoffs, though, so I guess I'll pick them. Again, the Jets looked like they could have easily beat the Seahawks at one point in that game, and then they just completely fell apart. So I'll take the Dolphins here to stay in the playoff mix at home. Next game, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars going into Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Jaguars look really bad. They started to come back with Mac Jones a little bit. The Titans look really bad. They had a big win 2 weeks ago, but got destroyed by the Commanders. I'll pick the Jaguars on the road. I think Mac Jones clears Will Levis, so I'll take Mac Jones and the Jaguars on the road. Next game, we have Atlanta Falcons at Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings. I know the Vikings have kind of looked weak the last couple of weeks, but they continue to get wins. Some may call them the Chiefs of the NFC, right? They continue to stay at a very good record, but how they're getting these wins, it's very close. Meanwhile, the Falcons have had an up and down season. Again, it's tough to predict Falcons games. Some weeks they look really good. Some weeks they are, one of the worst teams in the league. I'm going to take the Vikings in this one and knock off the Falcons. Next game, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Philadelphia Eagles. I got to admit, Bryce Young is starting to look a little decent. With that being said, there's no way I'm picking the Panthers this week. The Eagles coming off a monster win against the Baltimore Ravens. How the heck could I pick the Panthers, right? The Panthers just blew the game in overtime. So I have to pick the Eagles here. Speaking of teams that went to overtime, it was that same game. The Buccaneers are at home this week against the Las Vegas Raiders, and I got to pick the Buccaneers, right? The Raiders just... Again, I'm not picking the Raiders the rest of the year after that debacle of a Chiefs game they had a couple weeks ago. I cannot do it. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers here. Again, that Black Friday game was just despicable. I cannot pick the Raiders. Moving on to our 4 o'clock slate here in the NFL, we have the Seahawks taking on the Cardinals in Arizona. This game should be a fun one. Again, 2 teams that look completely different week to week. The Cardinals, they're either putting up 40 points or putting up 10 points. The Seahawks, they're having big weeks on offense. Some weeks they're having absolute stinkers. And the Seahawks are kind of a half-to-half team, whereas the Cardinals, you kind of know what you're getting right away, and the whole game goes either very well or very poorly. I am going to take the Seahawks on the road here to get a big road win to stay in that conversation to win their division. Again, I don't know. I think the Cardinals are just a little bit weaker, and they need all cylinders to be rolling to get a win, and it just hasn't seemed to happen too often. Again, as a Bills fan, I saw them week 1. And yet, they were really good that week, and then you see them in other weeks, they put up, almost single-digit points. So I'm going to take the Seahawks there. Next game, we have the Chicago Bears going into San Francisco to take on the Niners. Again, another mid-game, but I am going to take the San Francisco 49ers to win this one. They bounce back in better weather. Again, McCaffrey is hurt, probably out for the year with a knee injury, so that's unfortunate for them, but I think Mason is, he's actually been a better running back this season. I know, you look at the two running backs, and obviously McCaffrey's the better back, but this season, Mason's been better, so I'm going to take the Niners to win this one. I just don't like the Bears at all, and again, I'm not picking the Bears the rest of the year, I don't think, with how that game ended that Thanksgiving week against the Lions. I mean, what a joke. So, next game, we have America's Game of the Week on Fox, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Los Angeles Rams. I got to take the Bills here. Again, as non-biased as a pick as I could possibly make it. The Rams have just very weak on offense. The Bills just continue to steamroll. I mean, they've had so many consecutive wins at this point. They're in contention for number one in the AFC, and they've already clinched their division. So I got to pick the Bills here. I know the Rams, they need this win, but I just don't see it happening. Moving on, Sunday Night Football, we have the Chargers at the Chiefs. Now, if I were to make a football pick, I would pick the Chargers here, but again, whatever voodoo magic the Chiefs have on the league, I think it's going to continue. I just don't see the Chiefs losing on Sunday Night Football. You got Collinsworth in the box talking. Again, if you're a Chiefs hater, do not watch this game. It's on NBC. Do not watch this game. Please do not watch this game. Chiefs are going to win this one, I think. If they don't, that'll be awesome, but again, we'll see what happens. Moving on to our last game this week, Monday Night Football. We have the Cincinnati Bengals in Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Talk about two teams that have had very disappointing seasons. Again, this one could go either way. I'm going to go with the Bengals because they still have their number one quarterback in Joe Burrow playing. If Dak Prescott was still playing for the Cowboys, I might take them at home, but I think the Bengals bounce back. Again, the Bengals defense is terrible, but their offense continues to put up big numbers, and I don't think the Cowboys will be able to match that number they put up this week. So I will take the Bengals to round it out. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe, and have a good one. Peace out, guys.